After killing hundreds of gang members, you'd expect the world to react, right? Well, it doesn't, and that's what Cyberpunk gets wrong. And I just want to say, wiping out entire gangs only for them to do nothing in retaliation is a huge disappointment. By the end of this video, you'll understand how Cyberpunk was so close to making faction systems on par with Stalker and Fallout, but ended up sadly missing the mark. I'm making this video because this is one of those clear-cut examples of AAA games getting 90% of the way there, and then fumbling the final steps to greatness. Let's begin at one of the beginning missions of Cyberpunk. You're tasked with entering a Maelstrom base and cutting a deal with the leader for a robot. Easy peasy, right? Well, yes, I just went in, cut the deal, and then left. The problem being that prior to this encounter, I might have beheaded over 100 of these chrome-picking, organ-harvesting, brutalistic freaks with my Sandevistan katana build. Does Dum Dum or Royce or Brick or any gang leader give even the slightest shit? No, they don't, and that is precisely the problem. How about the most egregious examples where you can literally eviscerate every single voodoo boy in Pacifica and then go chat to their boss, Placide, like nothing happened? I know Placide is about to betray you anyway, but that's not the point. The point is that it completely ruins the immersion for me, and I'm guessing many of you as well. Let me know in the comments if this kind of non-reactivity in gaming is a letdown, or if it's more of an I don't really care kind of thing. I'd love to hear what you have to say. The problem is that Cyberpunk promised us reactive gangs, an immersive world, and NPCs that care. But what did we receive? A city that always sleeps, a world that doesn't care, and potentially the most anger-inducing example, the patch where they added one gang car that's the same across all gangs, and it tries to run you off the road if you slightly annoy their gang. It's understandable that the reactivity wasn't there at the launch because of the way that Cyberpunk was made. However, their commitment to quality, in my opinion, was fantastic at its best, but lofty at its worst. And that's what we see with the gangs in Cyberpunk 2077. An unreactive, unresponsive, uncaring, hollow promise. I actually spoke about all this in my combat video too, how Cyberpunk consistently gets so many things right, yet leaves a fair bit on the table, limiting it from becoming a true 10 out of 10. CDPR managed to build enticing factions that draw you into their specific piece of Night City, but it fails to land because every time you go on a rabbit hole, reading about the Mox's old revolutionary founder who was martyred for their cause, there's 10 other times where you spend an entire quest disemboweling hundreds of gang members without even a shred of care from anyone. Cyberpunk 2077 is in that weird limbo state where it's 2 steps away from being a 10 out of 10, but it ends up having to deprioritize due to other issues and misses out on what could have been some nerd's 18-hour deep dive analysis video on the systems and factions of the game. I would have done that. It's impossible to critique Cyberpunk 2077's factions without, of course, acknowledging that amidst deadline pressures and crunch culture, a pragmatic plethora of things needed to be cut in order for Cyberpunk 2077 to not die and fall into obscurity. And whilst I don't think CDPR did the best they could have, the developers definitely did. And what we have today, after the 2.0 update, was, in my opinion, well worth the wait. This video is a semi-deep dive analysis into why the factions in Cyberpunk could have been so insanely intricate and nuanced, yet fell flat due to poor decisions regarding the game's marketing. This is one of those things I'd love to see in Cyberpunk Orion, a truly realized faction system with NPCs that genuinely react to your actions. Stalker and Fallout did it perfectly decades ago, so why can't we nail this in 2020? A part of me wants to be sympathetic, but another part of me, specifically my wallet, paid full price for this game, and I want to see the developers not only follow up on their promises, but also improve, innovate, and implement systems that we've had for decades now. And if you want to see Cyberpunk actually get a system right, then watch how they handled hacking and net running. It's literally the complete opposite of this problem. It hurts even more because Cyberpunk's world is so enticing on paper. Coming from a tabletop RPG like Dungeons & Dragons, Cyberpunk had the lore and foundations to be an insanely fun RPG with Stalker Clear Sky level faction AI and Fallout New Vegas level faction allegiance systems, where one game has factions that have their own unique routines, hunt you down to praise and condemn you for your actions throughout the game. Another has 2 pieces of cardboard with some sticky tape and poop smears on them that might hit you in an offhand bit of dialogue and get a speckle of shit on your arm. But it's no more than an extremely minor inconvenience. It's an afterthought, and that's the vibes that the factions in Cyberpunk give off. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, did a similar thing where the game was advertised with the titular faction A-Life system that made the original Stalker trilogy so special. But then amidst surrounding wars and pressure from all angles, the Stalker team pushed out a game where you can murder everyone and mostly no one cares. So there's some sympathy to be had given that multiple games have encountered this issue. It's genuinely disappointing that games can't receive more time in the oven and get pushed out half-baked like this. This is not an issue exclusive to Cyberpunk. There's a shocking amount of games that decide to release unfinished and genuinely bother me to the point that I'd make, a video about it. But we now understand why it happened. But now we need to know why it matters. From the get-go, the crunch culture and pressure surrounding Cyberpunk was going to kill some systems. But those systems were promised to us. A reactive world, NPCs with schedules, and much more. We need to not only not be complacent about getting fed whatever they want, but we need to stand up against these scummy business practices that pigeonhole developers into shortening their visions to meet quotas and deadlines. And if you want to see us do that, then stick around, subscribe, join the Discord, and call out your favorite games for not delivering on what they promised. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video. I'm doing the frickin' outro right now. Let me take my sock off of the mic. GG, join my Discord. Goodbye. I'm making this video. Holy shit.